welcome to podcast 4 of the Iron Rodcast. I am John, joined here by Rhett. Welcome back, Rhett.
Yeah, I'm filling in for James today.
Yes, very good, very good. That was your joke. Now we're proceeding on to my joke. Welcome, Pete. Good to see you at church today, despite the fact that you did mild yard work yesterday.
Yep. Actually, I did a lot of yard work yesterday. I tallied it up. I think I was out there for about 4 hours. 4 hours worth of work.
In his defense, we did not have a soccer game, so his excuse for last week is still kind of valid.
No, it's not. No, it's not at all. It's not in any way, shape, or form. I get no excuse whatsoever for missing state conference.
Rhett, you did listen then?
I did listen. I liked it.
Oh, good.
Obviously.
Okay, cool. Well, and once again, I think we might be rushed for time because I just barely walked in because my calling came a-calling, strangely, toward the very tail end there.
That's okay. There's not a lot that happened today.
Good. I know a lot of pressure Sunday school wise because our new Sunday school teacher took the reins this week, and I have no idea what the lesson was, but I heard people complimenting her. Did she do a good job?
I think she did do a good job.
Yeah, she did.
And I think she's going to get a lot better too. There were a couple of times where I was like, oh man, oh shoot, she did that. But it's like annoying stuff with me.
I was just going to say,
I look at it and think, well, oh man, I can't believe a teacher just did that.
I think it was more like, I don't think you should have phrased it, I think she'll get better. I think she'll begin teaching more like Peter Nash soon.
No, that is not what I was saying at all. Don't put those words in my mouth.
All right.
No, I thought she did really, really well. It was clear she had a strong grasp on the material. I know that she had put in a lot of time in preparation. Of course, granted, she had 3 weeks to get ready for this because of state conference and...
Yeah, but I think she'd do... If she had 3 days, I think it'd be just as good.
Sure, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. I oftentimes get a little annoyed when I teach opposite a bad teacher, because then I'm like, oh man, why can't they just be good?
And then the week that you come on teach, you pretty much redo their lesson because you got to fix their stuff.
I've never fixed anybody's lesson at all. Not at all.
The one, and I wouldn't even say this is a critique. The one thing I noticed is it felt rushed. The entire thing. I think it's because she wanted to cover the entire stuff, which is almost impossible to do, especially if you've got good material, which she...
It's tough because Sunday school teachers really only get about a half an hour, or at least in our ward, because when sacrament lets out, everybody then mills around for a while. Sunday school should be starting at 10 after, so we should have 40 minutes, but we never get... We're lucky to get 30.
Two thoughts occur to me. Maybe throwing this out for a calling, a ward
herder,
a corraller is what a ward people wrangler kind of thing. Someone specifically there in the chapel to get people to Sunday school.
Do they have a cattle prod?
I don't know what they have.
Do they get a cattle prod?
Well, I'm just thinking they're a really charismatic person who gets into conversations and just kind of says, "Hey, you guys, let's get to Sunday school."
I think it needs to be a sister because I think the guys all mill around.
Actually, you make fun of that. When I had good lessons back in the day when I would teach, and if I knew it was a good lesson, I'd go up and say, "Hey, are you gonna come listen to my lesson?" I used to go around to the groups and say, "Dude, I'm teaching right now. Are you gonna come listen?" And get people to go up, but.
I've always felt awkward doing that.
I'm going to do it next week. Dude, Pete's teaching. Are you coming?
Maybe we should. Maybe we should. Of course, I have a weird calling because kind of part of my calling is to get people to stick around because I need to help the new member committee because we have the new member meeting right after.
Yeah.
And
anyway.
So I have to go. My other thing that I thought is I think it's actually kind of commendable that she was able to get through the lesson because that's one of my big things that I don't like is Sunday school teachers saying, well, we only have the good stuff left, but we're out of time. So
as I was actually talking to Annie today, I was saying, you did a really good job, and she was saying, oh, I just felt like I was trying to get to all of the other stuff, and I wanted to get to the discussion at the end there, but I finally got it, and I was like, well, that's perfect. I mean, that's what you got to do as a teacher. You have to say, okay, I definitely want to cover this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have the other things that you're like, okay, I can cut this. We don't need to have a discussion about this.
No, she did well. She did great.
And, it's perfect.
Oh, if you weren't in, John, the lesson was...
Oh, yeah. What was the lesson?
It's from Numbers. It was the brass serpent. The fiery serpents, the whining, the 40 years, which one thing I learned, it was 2 years, then 40 years. I never knew that.
2 years of what?
The Israelites wandering around before they were told that it was going to be another 40 years.
Oh, so 42 years.
Yeah, it's actually 42.
Life, the universe, and everything. 42 years.
comes around.
Oh, interesting.
There's a lot of numerology today. There was some in Elder's Quorum too, which you'll think is funny.
Oh wow, okay.
So it was the Israelites were annoyed by the fact that all they were getting was manna. Like, oh, manna. When can we get some real meat?
Yeah, they complained that they didn't like it.
I don't know. Have you had manna for 40 years?
That's true.
Well, not 40 years.
I don't know how long it was.
They were only
at this point. Yeah, it would have been like
years.
6 months to a year that they would have been eating it. And so anyway, the Lord sends them quail.
Do you remember? Well, okay. Do you remember that month when we were living at Liberty Square where I bought 30 ramen noodles?
Yes, I know where you go.
And I was going to make a ramen calendar. Like, this is what I'm going to eat for the next 30 days. I only made it like 23 days.
Really?
So.
You gave up after 23 days?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, and we learned from Super Size Me that you can't do it with McDonald's for 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean,
okay,
2 years, 40 years, manna.
Question I had today. Wandering in the wilderness, what does that mean? Were they moving every day? Were they moving every 6 months?
Because that's what I would have complained about.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, forget the food.
Yeah.
If I've got to pack up my gear often, and I in my head, I kind of think, okay, when they say wandering, like, it was always in their mind there's some final destination, but they probably, kind of like the Indians did, like they were camped for a season, or maybe it was 2 seasons, maybe a year.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, if we want to pull out the maps here and just take a quick look.
Yeah, we'll show these on the podcast.
You bet. Everybody look over here. Okay,
maybe we can put it on the blog. Does the church have these? Like,
I would
they're
imagine.
visible.
I would imagine so. So at any rate, here's what happened. They leave Egypt and they head down here. This is the Sinai Peninsula right here. So they come down here, Mount. What's the mount that he goes up?
Tabor?
Sinai?
Didn't I say
Mount Sinai. Thank you.
Oh gosh,
I'm like pointing at it right here. It was
Sinai.
Sinai right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sinai is right down here. So they head down the coast for a while. They get to Sinai, and that's where they're at. Then they start to make their way up, and they come up and come around. And it's right when they get to about right up here. I can't remember which mountain it is. That's where they're at when they're up at the mountain, and they send the 12 people down into the valley to say, okay, go and take a look at this and report back to us. So they're roughly right about there. So that's from here
so that
all the way up
2
to
years.
here. Well, from down there, that's how long it took them to do that. So granted, there were a few 100,000 people to move. So I would imagine they probably went for a little while, rested for a while.
I would
Marched
imagine.
For a while. I don't know.
I'd probably set a bunch of my stuff up in a specific spot, put a stick up saying, this is my stuff, and come back to that spot over and over again.
They probably cached stuff. I could see that. But I mean, they didn't move over 1,000 miles geographically.
Yeah, I don't know. How many miles
here's
is
the
that?
thing. I mean, that's 250. I mean, there's no way that
250.
I mean, they may have traveled more than that.
Maybe 500
but it would have had
miles
to been
or
circles.
something.
But yeah, we're talking not that far. I don't know. For 40 years, I assume they rested. Like, they didn't move. They probably didn't establish themselves. I guess if you didn't actually build houses, you're probably wandering.
There were probably way stations at some point where they were like, okay, let's fill up water, and how long is it going to take for a few 100,000 people to fill up water?
Was it that many?
It was. I think within the Book of Numbers, they actually do a count. That's why they call it the Book of Numbers. But I don't know. I don't know the exact number.
Okay,
I don't.
That's all. Otherwise, I don't know what else to talk about from the lesson. It was just really good.
Actually, I've got a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. In Numbers chapter 11, verses 10 through 15, I'm just going to go ahead and read this here. So this is after the people are coming to Moses and saying, "Oh man, why can't we have something besides manna? Back in Egypt we used to have garlic and onions and leeks and melons and cucumbers."
Everything smells.
Oh, yeah, I guess probably.
Well, no, isn't there a verse where they ate so much quail that they vomited it out?
Oh, yeah. It does talk about that. Yeah. At least I think it did. I don't know. The point I wanted to get to, starting in verse 10. Then Moses heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent. And the anger of the Lord was kindled greatly. Moses was also displeased. And Moses said unto the Lord, Wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant? And wherefore have I not found favor in thy sight, that thou layest the burden of all this people upon me? Have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten them, that thou shouldest say unto me, Carry them in thy bosom, as a nursing father beareth the suckling child, unto the land which thou swarest unto their fathers? Whence should I have flesh to give unto all this people? For they weep unto me, saying, Give us flesh, that we may eat. I am not able to bear all this people alone, because it is too heavy for me. And if thou deal thus with me, kill me, I pray thee, out of hand, if I have not found favor in thy sight, and let me not see my wretchedness. And I love these verses.
Okay.
Because, not just because of the fact that Moses is just complaining, saying, oh, why me? This is so bad, just kill me. It seems as though the Israelites are the most dramatic people ever. Mm-hmm. But in fairness, they did put up with a lot. But what I love about this so much is the fact that Moses has had so many great experiences in speaking with the Lord, and so many times he's come back to the Lord and said, I just don't think it's possible, or, I'm not sure how we're going to do this, or, why me? And I love that he's a regular person. Mm-hmm. How many times have I been in a situation where I'm like, oh, son of a gun, why in the world do I have to do this? Why am I the only one who's doing anything around here? And I like the fact that Moses, who is clearly chosen of the Lord, has these moments where he is weak as well. And you know what? I just love that he is a human, just like the rest of us. And that struck me really well.
That's pretty cool. How did the Lord respond to that?
Let's see. And the Lord said unto Moses, Gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest of the elders of the people, and officers over them. So at this point, he appoints 70 people to assist him.
So,
in carrying.
Can we learn from this that because there are times in the Old Testament where the Lord kind of rebukes people mm-hmm. for seemingly kind of minor things, but in this case, one thing we can take is, hey, you can kind of bargain with the Lord a little bit. Mm-hmm. If you want to get something done, you can work something out. You can go to him and tell him how you're feeling, and he'll be like, here's 70 guys. All right, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my final point is, when we look at leaders and we say, oh man, I can't believe they were rude to me, or I can't believe they said that. You know what? They're human beings just like the rest of us. And they're going to get frustrated and tired, and they're not going to be, as engaged in whatever thing you think they should be engaged in. They get just as tired. They have families, they have jobs just like you, and now they have a greater responsibility. Cut them some slack a little bit.
Yeah. Did we, the other week, remember, what was it? Didn't I get, I got my paycheck from being in the Beard movie, the Mormon Battalion movie. And I look at the envelope and I said to you, I can't believe the church just Simon's Ridered me. Because they totally spelled my name wrong on the envelope.
For those people who don't know, Simon's Rider was a member of the church. He had joined, and he received a revelation, but when the prophet Joseph Smith wrote it down, he misspelled his name. And so he said, oh, well, you clearly can't be a prophet if you can't even get my name spelled right. And then he left the church.
Yeah. So I left the church for a couple hours a couple weeks ago. Fortunately, it wasn't on a Sunday. And
I'm glad you made your way back.
It didn't really affect my life super much. Okay, anything else about the lesson?
I guess I have one more thing.
Sure.
If neither of you do.
I still don't really know what the lesson is.
Yeah, okay.
I told you it was look upon the best serpent.
That's true.
Fire serpent.
That's true. I used to have that poster. It's good. I love the caduceus.
So the in chapter 21 is when I don't know what chapter it's in. Oh, chapter 13. Moses sends the 12 spies down, and they all basically come back with a couple of exceptions. And
didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
They all say, hey, this is a horrible place, or yes, it has some good stuff, but there's all of these people down there. We can't possibly beat them. And correct me if I'm wrong. We may have talked about this, but I wanted to talk about pointing out problems isn't necessarily bad, but refusing to be positive is bad. Did we talk about that?
No, I don't really think we talked about that.
Because the Israelites they do what they should do. They get a report of the land, and part of the report of the land is the fact that there are these people down there. The problem that they made, or the mistake that they made, was the fact that they didn't think, okay, how can the Lord help us, and what do we need to do in order to fulfill the Lord's commandment for us to eventually go down and take in the land. As an example, with the company that I work with, from time to time the owners come up with ideas that are just like, hey, we think this is going to be great, this is going to save the company, this is going to make millions of dollars off of this. And I look at them and I think, okay, did you really think through all of these situations? And so I then start to point out, okay, well, what about this problem here, and this problem here, and this problem here, and this problem here? And I do it because I realistically don't think they've thought through everything. And so I'm being the voice in there who's trying to say, okay, think this all through. If someone were to look from the outside and not realize the reason I'm pointing this stuff out, they would think that I was just being negative to say, oh man, we just shouldn't do this, we shouldn't change, we shouldn't do anything at all. And
sounds like you're quite an apologist for the 10 people who were...
No, not at all. They clearly made the mistake. I mean, they didn't even want to go down there because they said, these people are too tough. They're giants. We look like crickets in front of them. Grasshoppers, thank you. And we just cannot possibly overcome them at all. And which is ridiculous because look what they did to the Egyptians. I mean, they managed to get away from them, and they were one of the greatest powers around. So,
yes, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you were saying that, I was trying to think of an example of someone being too negative. Because there's the practicality of it. A lot of people don't know when they've gone from just being realistic to kind of wallowing in the, okay, well, I think now is a good time to give up. And not, I mean, faith is involved in it, so.
Yeah. Anyway, good lesson.
Good lesson, yeah. Look to the Lord, the snake on the stick. I always love that story. I think we know it, so I don't think we have to talk about it. Really. What's next week, Pete?
I am not sure.
The lesson after that one.
Yes.
Is this your book? Right
lesson 16. I can go get it.
Yeah. Well, in Elder's Corps, the only thing I have to say about Elder's Corps, got a new teacher, he's a new counselor. He did pretty good. His lesson was on Elder Packer's talk from conference, which was actually the first talk Saturday morning, so I didn't miss it, obviously.
Yeah, I think I missed that one.
So I read it while he was giving a lesson, and he also did a pretty good job. But the one thing I wanted to mention about it is, do you remember the story of Gideon and how he selected his army, and there was too many of them, and so he pared them down, and said the Lord said, have them go to the water and drink, and whoever cupped it to their hands keep, and whoever
just stuck their face in the water?
Yeah, stuck their face in the water.
Which I thought was weird. I mean, who does that?
I've done that in a mountain stream. It's really refreshing.
Really?
Yeah, but it's true. And the funny part about that is I remember in Boy Scouts we did it, and somebody pushed my friend's head all the way in the water, and I'm like, Gideon right there, dude. He wasn't paying attention. He got his head dunked. But do you know how many people he ended up with?
It was 300.
Yeah, it's 300.
That's right. Okay,
and
that's weird.
It talks about him fighting off a huge larger army with only 300 people. And what's his name at the top of the lesson? Colfed?
Sean.
Thank you. So Sean said, he tried not to mention the movie 300, but he kind of did. Yeah. And I really did, because it was really similar. Because he was like, so how... he was talking about how everyone knew their place. He's like, so why is it important if you've got a small army of everyone knowing their place? I'm like, well, that's a phalanx in 300. That's what it is. But that's all I want to say. I thought it was funny. He was in Judges.
That is, how did I never think of that?
Yeah, I never thought about it either. There were 300.
Maybe there's, maybe it's like the numbers in Lost. Like, it's like the number itself is powerful.
I think they stole it.
The Greeks?
Yes.
I mean, because that really happened.
I know, but the number, I think they stole it from the Old Testament. They stole it from the Jews.
Well, I mean, but I guess. I mean, well, I don't know the. I saw the movie.
Okay.
But I don't really know the story very well. But I mean, it wasn't it. They were only allowed to have that many, right?
Yeah.
So maybe the governors of Greece who were in charge of that, like, maybe we can see something cool happen. Let's try this number thing.
I think it's total coincidence, but it was funny.
Oh yeah, I miss Elders Quorum sometimes. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I miss Elders Quorum.
So can we transition to the topic of the week?
Yeah, I think we're ready to go.
Because I have a good segue. So the lesson in Sunday school is the looking and living upon the thing. The segment today I want to talk about is EFY. And ironically enough, no, that's not right. Appropriately enough, the theme for EFY that I sat in the meeting, helped decide was look and live from the Old Testament. Because the way the EFY works is every year they kind of cycle through the standard works and they pick out a theme. And we went from Doctrine and Covenants to Old Testament. So the year I was there was We Believe, then we went to Look and Live. I thought it was so funny that we had that lesson today. But EFY. Let's give background here. Pete, you've never been to EFY.
I have never, no.
No real contact with EFY or how it works, what the program is. I mean, you did work for the church a little bit.
A bit. Well, yeah, I taught Seminary and Institute for a while.
And that's part of the CES.
Yeah, that's CES. EFY, from my understanding, though, is not specifically, like, promoted by the church. I could be wrong on that, but I've never understood. I always thought it was like a third-party thing.
I will clear that up.
Just was closely affiliated, and so they got to use BYU.
Okay.
According to Wikipedia, I think it was like started by one guy, and I don't know what's happened since then.
Okay, John's authority on EFY is he's a graduate, 4 years.
Yes, that's my authority. Thank you.
4 years of BYU.
Graduate of yeah. I spent more time at EFY than in high school, I think.
So, and I actually I went to EFY once, up in Logan, actually. I didn't go to BYU.
Okay.
EFY. I went to graduate from BYU, but I didn't go to EFY at BYU. And then I worked for the EFY office for a year. So I saw the entire, from hiring of the counselors clear up to the end, all through the summer, then the end of summer, starting over. I don't know how it started, but yes, the church, it's part of the CES program.
Is it?
So it's just, oh yeah. It's under, that's where we got our funding. It's through CES. So it's just as much as Institute or Seminary. And a lot of the instructors, the teachers, come from the CES pool of instructors.
Right.
That's who they contact. Yeah, they pay them to come do it, obviously.
So it's actually affiliated with
CES,
that. Okay.
It's completely CES. There's a couple other programs. There's one, I can't remember. It's like for older, it's like for like 17, 18-year-olds. That's not from the church, but I can't remember what it's called. But it was like EFY graduate type level stuff. It was funny. And we used to get calls about it.
They go on a cruise.
And we're like, no. I think it was called like Explorer or something. The Explorer program? I don't know.
That's Boy Scouts.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But anyways, EFY. And the reason I want to talk about EFY is because we all have it came up somehow. And I think what John brought up was it was kind of, we were talking about loudness and energy versus spirit.
Yeah.
That's how it came up. I don't even know where to begin. Let's start with that. When I was at EFY, we had you've got the participants themselves, you've got the counselors who are over each group of about 12 people, then you've got the coordinators who are over the counselors, and then you have the admin office people. I was the admin office people. We used to joke that the only reason EFY was successful is because God wanted it to be. That was an ongoing office joke. Because the type of person, and this is my viewpoint only, is that the type of person that can be a counselor or even a coordinator is the 24/7 positive, animated, energy spirit, which animated, by the way, the word in Spanish is animo, means like to have spirit or life or energy. Like that's like similar to animated, kind of the same thing. Like, just that loud 24/7 EFY cliche. And that type of person we found is not very good at, how do I say this nicely?
Organization?
Day-to-day organizational, get the work done type stuff.
Right.
They're really good at with people and entertaining kids and things like that. But as far as, organizing, saying, okay, here is this shipment of stuff. We got to ship it here. Good example. We got all the T-shirts for the entire year delivered to our office. And we have to split them up in sizes and how many we need per location. Because it's not just BYU. It's all throughout the country. And the girl in charge of it, instead of organizing a plan and saying, okay, this is how we're going to do it, she decorated the entire office with balloons and streamers and signs and things like that. She stayed up like 3 a.m. doing that. And so we got to work at 8 a.m. And there was a big sign that said it's T-shirt day, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, okay, cool. It's and that, don't get me wrong, that's cool, and I kind of like that because it takes the tedious out of it. Yeah. But when I asked her, like, okay, what's the plan? She's like, I don't know. I thought we just divide them up. I'm like, how late were you here last night? She's like, oh, they're like 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I think that, and they're not bad people. It's just that it's the type of persona, which I'm not. I'm a finance type person. So it's like,
I wouldn't say I'm either of those people.
Yeah. So, being in the FY office, and the healthy balance is struck every week of getting it to work. There's 1,600 people in Provo, our students or kids in Provo. Our remote locations, I remember in Virginia that we were doing like 200 kids. In California, it was anywhere between 4 and 1,000. But BYU is definitely the biggest because they've got the housing and facilities for it. My bottom line take on the whole thing is it is an amazing organization, amazing function, and does things for kids. And is it me? No. Like, would I ever... I went to it, and my experience was great. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm just rambling, I'm sorry, but when I went to FY, I came home super jazzed about the gospel. I mean, my cousin who, was not so much in the church. I mean, he came, but that wasn't his thing, so to speak. He loved it. I remember the testimony, he cried at the end, which I've never seen him do. My best friend Shane, when we got home from Hawaii, he took his AC/DC CDs and like shot him with a gun. He like destroyed them, like got rid of all of his CDs. Like for a 16-year-old kid, that's like a huge deal. I mean, it was like, it was life changing. It really was. It only lasted a couple weeks maybe, and then we bought all the CDs back. But to be able to get a kid to do that, I think is very impressive. I don't know, John. What's your?
Well, I think it's interesting you said that because. One thing I was really confused about is I thought it was great.
I went once, so
I went 4 years, and I was kind of bugged that we have to do the cheering and the spirit fingers and the make kind of fools of ourselves sometimes.
Spirit fingers?
We didn't really do spirit fingers. I'm just saying. I mean,
you had.
it's just that kind of it's that kind of thing. We do cheers and we do
cheers all the time. We do skits, vignettes.
Yeah.
We actually had, my group, we actually did a dance to Let's Get Rocked by Def Leppard, like this little vignette at the end. And like...
I guess Shane saved that CD.
Yeah. Yeah. we still had Def Leppard.
Yeah, but I was bugged by a lot of that stuff, and I mean, a lot of people really liked it. I mean, people had fun doing it. Yeah. So, cool, whatever. But my favorite thing about it was the speakers and the different ways, that they got me to approach the gospel and seeing things in a more gospel-oriented way, like day-to-day life. And I'm like, this is really great. What I was surprised about, and you kind of hit this a little bit, was the effects of EFY don't last very long. And I don't really know why, I
have a theory on that.
Okay.
And it's because in my life... this happens to me over and over. I get super excited about some of the super jazz for a couple weeks, and then it totally fades out. I read a book about a year ago. It talked about using that energy instead of like let's say you have a goal, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. every day and go work out or whatever, go to the gym. Yeah, you do it for like a week and then you quit, right? Well, their thing was use the momentum energy or the energy you have to create a momentum change instead of a one-time change. So instead of using that to say, okay, I'm going to do this, you want to use that momentum to make a lifestyle change. Mm-hmm. And so it was. Does that make sense? That really doesn't make sense.
If I can draw something really quick here?
Yeah,
you're always drawing.
Well, I was just, and as Rhett was kind of describing it there, it kind of makes me think that if. Here's how you normally are. After EFY,
Peter's drawing a graph.
There's going to be...
You're drawing an obscene picture here. I can't believe it.
Peter, put the chainsaw down.
That is not the truth. So you get a spike in... We'll call this spirituality. And so it peaks because you're coming off of this high. You're amongst all of these people who are like-minded, who are encouraging you to do good things. You come home and you think, oh man, I got to get rid of the AC/DC, which I've done that too. So you do, but after a while it starts to wear off because you don't have 1,600 people following you around. You don't have a counselor and a friend who's coming into your dorm room saying, "Hey, let's go do this. Let's go." You're left just to yourself. So you're gonna come back down. It's the same thing in regular spirituality. But what I would be interested to know is, do you come back down to the same level, or do you stay? Or do you not drop down as far as you were? Meaning,
that's a good question.
You come back down, but you're still at a level higher than what you used to be. And so as that continues on, you do start to see progress. I mean, granted, the best type of a graph would be one that's a continual, gradual climb versus the constant up and down, up and down, up and down. But I think as long as you're making progress, then that's it's a good thing. So my curiosity would be, is this sort of thing happening for the people that are going there? And if it is, then I would say, okay, I can live with all of the ridiculousness, the quote-unquote spirit fingers, and the cheers and what have you, if it is having an effect upon them. Because I have a nephew who went for the first time last year.
Is this the nephew we've met?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what nephew you've met.
I made that up.
Okay.
Who are the nephews who stayed here?
That was, one of them.
Right.
Yeah, one of them, Jacob.
Right.
So you have met him.
Okay, yeah.
Go on.
He went and he loved it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun for him. But in fairness, I mean, this kid's not a bad kid at all. He's a really good kid. This was used, he used it as a means of saying, oh man, I really need to focus on some other things. So for him, he's 17. He's going to go one more year, and then he's going to be heading off on his mission soon. The whole thing was to help focus him a little bit better, and it is definitely useful and good for him. Someone like me, I really, really don't think that it would ever be of use or value to me.
Well, not now. But what about when you're 14?
No, that was my point. Back then, it would not have been.
Well, I wanted to kind of run through the week with Pete really quick to see okay, is this a positive thing? Will this positively affect your life or negatively affect your life? Well, okay, you get there.
Check in. We give you wristbands.
Yeah, your wristbands. You meet your roommate. You kind of talk. You're like, oh yeah, AC/DC. I like AC/DC. And then
right there would have been negative. Meeting someone new would have been paralyzing for me at that age.
Now
I wouldn't have been able to handle that. That's thing one that I wouldn't have been able to handle.
Okay, right. That's a rough thing. But I mean, would meeting someone be a positive aspect in your life? I would think
it could be.
It's something that would be a helpful thing. Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe not easy, but helpful. And then then you meet your counselor, gather together, and then you walk with your counselor and the other group of guys, and then you meet the group of girls, and then you talk, and then you eat dinner, and I think there's a dance the first night usually.
Okay, that would be the next thing that would cripple me.
I know. Yeah. And then everybody.
You.
Oh yeah, this will get good. Then you go back. You
have a devotion every night before you go to bed.
Fun. Yeah. There is a little devotional. Nice. That's right. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
Are they shouting at those devotionals?
No, this is spiritual. Sit down.
Spiritual,
in your room.
Okay. Quiet. Okay. Tuesday, you start your classes, and you can pick several different types of classes.
Which I love the classes.
Yeah, the classes
are all
symposium
type.
Totally.
Yeah, totally symposium. Yeah, exactly. And you look through, and you
find John by the way and see where you're gonna fit him in.
Yeah. And you plan out. Some of your friends. Maybe you talk to some of the girls that you met. Oh yeah, you're going. Oh, I'm gonna go there, even though it sounds horrible. I guess I'll go now. and Tuesday you have field day, if I remember right. So.
Okay, what is
Sports.
field day?
It's like sport. You do obstacle courses and relay races and stuff, and it kind of moves the group moves around to different events, kind of thing. And so you do that for a couple hours. So that's kind of fun. But between field day and dinner, you're probably going to want to get together with your group because you got to think of a name for your group.
Yeah.
Okay, the crippling
right.
thing number 3, creativity.
First year we did it. We were the kingdoms. We had to pick a kingdom. In our group, I think we were actually assigned the first year, but we were the Dynamite Kingdom, and we were just assigned Dynamite. The next year, we were
I thought you were going to choose one of the 3 degrees of glory. One of the
yeah, no.
We're the Celestial Kingdom.
Yeah, no. The next year, I think we picked the Olympian generation because we were generations. The next year, we were camps. I think we were Camper Van Beethoven or something, or Camp Buy Me Love is actually what we were. That's what it was. Camp Buy Me Love. And then the next year, I can't remember. So you got to think of that. You got to think of like some kind of cheer that's associated with your group. Mm-hmm. Okay, the next day, then you have your devotional.
Wait. You have to pick a cheer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ours was
number 4 right there.
Our theme was like return with honor. So our cheer, I remember it did something that was return with honor, honor with return. Like we make back. See how I did that? I made it backwards. Honor with return.
Right. That's
somebody save me now.
That is no. That's the Jewish form of literature. What's it called?
Chiasmus.
Yes, chiasmus. That's a chiasmus.
Lawyer.
Example of
Go
chiasmus.
on.
Thank you. Then I'm having a good time talking about EFY.
By the way, I believe it's pronounced chiasmus.
All right, fair enough. Wednesday, you go to class. You find the John By the Way or the Wilcox. What were some of the other ones?
Whoever.
Susan Eastman Black, maybe. I don't know.
Every now and
then. So those are good. Then you continue work on your cheer, and then you eat dinner. It's better food this time. Wednesday night dance. There's the Wednesday night dance. And then you have your devotional. You do, Thursday, breakfast, class, whatever. Talent show Thursday.
Which actually, it wasn't bad.
I love the talent show.
They were fun.
Watch your cup there.
Shows.
Thank you.
You don't necessarily have to do a talent, but there's some unique stuff.
Is that a group thing
It's
that you have
the
to do?
entirety of why.
No, it's everybody there.
State, one person on stage.
No. What I mean is your
community.
group has to come up.
No.
Okay, so
the talent show is completely volunteer. Right from and they have tryouts like on Tuesday afternoon or something.
It's like Joe playing
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody definitely was the EFY thing.
That's a totally EFY thing. Joe playing Bohemian Rhapsody on the piano, having the audience sing. Stuff like that.
It's usually pretty good.
Yeah, usually pretty good. I remember one year these two guys did a Pet Shop Boys song, like with a synthesizer and a guitar. Like one girl, her talent was playing the piano, but it was like an act where everything went wrong and the pages would fly over.
Yeah, a lot of people have acts. Like you'd be surprised how many 15-year-olds have an act.
The first time I heard Who's on First was it EFY.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I saw two guys do the complete
Shame on your parents for not showing that to you sooner.
I didn't know who the Beatles were till college.
Shame on your parents for, parents don't teach Who's on First. That's a cultural thing.
They didn't teach it to me, but they had me watch it.
They forced you.
The classics, man. That's classics.
Go on. What's the final dance?
No. Thursday night was testimony meeting.
Ah, yes.
There was a final devotional, and it was a big devotional with everybody. And then after that is your group's testimony meeting. Always people bawling.
Yeah,
people are bawling.
Whatever.
Yeah, and
so they were emotion-monies.
If you're saying that what the people were testifying of was not true, then that's not the case.
They were
here's my
it's
problem.
It's not when people cry on like today in testimony meeting. People cry on there. It's totally different. It's different.
The thing that I've always had trouble with people crying is why are they crying? Is that how they feel the Spirit? I have been moved to tears from time to time, but that's not how I feel the Spirit. Oftentimes, when youngsters bear their testimony, they think that crying is a part of it because that's what they see some of the adults do.
Yeah, you see some of that there, but I've seen guys cry where you would never see them cry ever, and they cry on these things.
Well, I don't know if I fully understand. So they pluck hairs to make sure that they're...
No, they work themselves into a state of emotion, and it's not really the Spirit that they're feeling. They're feeling emotion. They're feeling the buildup of everybody else, saying the same thing and whatnot. So,
okay, but I mean, obviously, emotion is a part of it. I mean, we can't take that away from people.
No, well, why can't we?
We can't. Okay, we should not take that away from people because I think it's valid.
Who's your favorite character on Star Trek?
The one with the most emotion. For his entire race, he had the most emotion.
On the fictional program of Star Trek, Spock is my favorite character. But, okay, fine. Anyway, testimony meeting's great. It is.
I think testimonies are good.
I will testify that EFY testimony meetings are good. Okay, then Friday comes, and it's a big banquet dinner that night. And
you dress up, which means a tie.
Yeah.
And an off-colored shirt.
Yes. And, of course, the final dance on Friday.
The 3 dances.
Like, you take a piece, like, we did candy necklaces, and you go pick a girl from your group to be your fake date.
Yeah.
You didn't have to dance her, but, it was just to make...
everybody feel
included.
good. And then, like, the girls will, like, get a big hunk candy bar and, like, make a necklace out of it.
And put it around your neck.
Yeah. So, like...
Big hunk?
Or whatever.
That's like
I had
worst
that
candy bar
it is
ever.
Big hunks are horrible, but when you get one from a girl, you feel
that was
pretty
weird.
cool.
I just heard Rhett say he loves big hunks.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that weird sounding. Okay, so anyway, that's EFY. That was the education of Pete Nash on EFY.
Okay. Overall, honestly, definitely positive experience. And your little graph, which I think we should redraw and put online, I think, yes, having going, I was at a higher level than I was previously, never returned to before.
Yeah.
Especially after
and that's good. And
that's
a positive thing.
Yes.
As much as I would never have enjoyed something like that, you can see the positive effect that it can have on people. So that's good.
If you want me to talk a little bit more about the nitty-gritty of EFY, one thing I do have to say is the counselors, man, they're funny. And the selection process for counselors, you have to have these interviews, and it's a big, stressful thing. I remember when a girl I knew was trying to be a counselor. She was worried because she wasn't a return missionary. Would they let her in? And she studied how to, because the process is you have to teach a lesson, and they interview you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And blah, blah, blah. So they try to...
Oh, was that because they're doing the devotional each night?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
They're leading them. They just want to see levels of spirituality. They want to see knowledge. They want to see,
well, that is good, important because if you're dealing with a high energy crowd, you don't want to mix that up with something like gospel oriented.
And so it was, and it really was a selective process until the season started. Then we were desperate for counselors. Some week, I interviewed people to be a counselor. I was like, oh yeah, they'll be fine. Put them in. It was like, they asked me to be a counselor one week. I'm like, no, I like my sleep, and they gave me I was in charge of the health counselors, which are like EMT trained. They don't have a group, but they're involved with everybody. They kind of float around, and they've got their EMT bags just in case. And they gave me the radio so I could listen at night. This is when it was after I lived with John, but it was when I was at a different spot down on Liberty Square, and the radio would reach campus, so I turned it on at night and listen to counselors talk to each other, and they would flirt with each other over the radio, and it was hilarious. But of all the counselors I knew, and I knew probably thousands, there was one counselor I remembered, and there was one counselor I ever thought, man, if she lived in Utah, I would totally date her. Her name is Jamie Morgan. And you know Jamie Morgan. Because when I moved to Salt Lake, the first person I knew was Jamie Morgan. I saw her at church, and I was like, never went out with her. We were just really good friends, whatever else. But Jamie was a really good counselor. She was really good. And you can see that because you know Jamie.
Yep.
But she would keep the kids involved, but also spiritual, but also knowledgeable enough. It was really good. But
Jamie's a teacher by trade.
Yeah, she's an elementary teacher.
So she definitely knows what to do with
But this was
children.
back before. This is when she was in college. So, but yeah, it was. Anyways, it was overall good. I think that's all I have to say about EFY. I'm looking at my notes.
Okay, I have an activity for us to do if we're done with EFY.
Okay, yes.
Okay, I have compiled. You mentioned what was the theme of your year of EFY?
We believe.
We believe.
And funny thing about that. One last thing.
Okay.
Our logo was some leaves with the We Believe, and it was kind of supposed to be the Sacred Grove-ish type, the leaf logo, the artist who did it, he took it off of like a clip art site. It was free, it was fine. Well, that same leaf was is a Stone Temple Pilots logo. And so it was on their hats and stuff. Joe owns a hat with the same leaf. And when we got all the t-shirts in and all the stuff, one of the guys that worked in the office with me goes, "Hey, Rhett, do you recognize this leaf?" I'm like, "Looks vaguely familiar." And an STP album had just come out. And he's like, "Check this out. You brought the CD out." I'm like, "Oh, no." I was like, because we'd already got all the paraphernalia printed up, and it was hilarious. And I think we had 2 people the entire year draw the connection, which is less than 0.5%.
I mean, you didn't get the connection.
I didn't.
And you saw them both.
Yeah.
So. Nice. Have you heard the new Stone Temple Pilots song?
Yeah, I like it.
It's pretty good. I
like
it, yeah. Okay. Okay, so we believe was your theme.
Yeah, the year after was Look and Live. When I was there, it was Return with Honor.
Oh, wait, stop. Shoot, dang, you know him pretty well. Okay, because this is what I was going to do. I've compiled a short list of EFY themes, And I've also compiled a list of movies I found on ChristianMovies.com.
We have to decide?
And also, I've compiled the list of Lifetime movies of the week.
Okay.
So I'm going to say something. You tell me if it's a Lifetime movie of the week, a ChristianMovie.com movie, or an EFY theme.
Okay, I'm going to turn my head so that I can't see you, because based on where you look on the page may influence me.
It won't influence me.
Very good deduction. Okay, Here we go. Okay, It Must Be Love.
I'm going to go with the movie.
Lifetime.
Yeah, Lifetime. Yeah, you got it. Lifetime or Christian.com.
I was going to say Christian movie. So
Pete got it. It's Lifetime. It Must Be Love. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like Lifetime.
Pen work. Okay, there we go.
Which is weird because I don't watch Lifetime.
Okay. Remember the Promise.
Oh, that's EFY.
That's EFY. That was the year before.
Really?
Yeah.
What year was that?
I used to sell that in Deseret Book. I remember those.
Really?
Like the
was
music.
Was it 01? It
was 01.
01, because 02 was the year I was there.
Yeah, bonus point for... Oh, whoops, I crossed off the wrong one. Okay, Maid of Honor.
That's not EFY.
That's
got to be a Christian movie?
I'm going to say Lifetime on that one.
No, it is a Lifetime. It's the movie with...
Meredith Baxter Burney. Tracy Gold.
It's the movie with McDreamy, Maid of Honor, spelled M-A-I-D. Yeah. And it was on Lifetime. So it's not made by Lifetime, but it was on Lifetime. Okay. A Vow to Cherish.
Ooh.
I'm going to say Christian
movies. Very good. Yeah. You got that. Okay. A Season for Courage.
That's EFY.
EFY.
I remember it. I remember the book. That was 2000.
Nope.
99.
Yep. Change of Heart.
Christian movie.
Lifetime.
Change of Heart.
Dang it.
Are we even now? I think we're even.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys keep track of that.
No, you missed two.
Crap. I'm down one. Go on.
Dare to Love.
I'm gonna go Christian
movie.
Nope.
Lifetime.
Lifetime. Dare to Love. Okay. Time and Again.
Christian movie.
Nope.
Lifetime.
Lifetime.
Hey, you gave me that one. Listen to Alec come back.
Never Ashamed.
Christian.
Christian
movie.
Christian movie. Sharing the Light.
EFY. 98.
No.
2000?
It was one of the times that I went.
94.
I remember the song a little bit. Sharing the light.
Oh.
Sharing. We forgot to tell Pete about the music.
Yes.
I can't believe it.
Forgot about, you get a CD every year.
Yeah. Oh, I know about the music because I worked at Deseret Book. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I had to stock the stupid things. Yeah.
Oh, and so
it wasn't just the CD, it was also the actual music book so that you could play the songs yourself.
Okay, random tangent. This summer there's a concert series at, I think it's the Sandy Amphitheater. Afterglow's playing, and Alexis has no idea who Afterglow is.
Wow, they're still a band?
No, maybe it was one of the members of Afterglow was speaking. No, that's what it was. It was a Sunday night CES thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it said one of the members of Afterglow, and I just started laughing. Alexis had no idea who that was.
That's funny. Because I was
How did you explain
in
it?
compiling this list, I was thinking about finding Afterglow songs. I looked up Afterglow on Wikipedia. Wikipedia doesn't know who Afterglow is.
Ooh, so that's why she doesn't know.
Yeah. But
how do we explain Afterglow?
It didn't really have the other definition.
It was the 90s version of Jericho Road. Except it wasn't a boy band type thing, but it was... Was it 80s? I thought it was 90s.
It seems like it was kind of 80s. I want to say Jericho Road is, of course,
they were
far
the
more
pop
hip.
Yeah.
Afterglow is... it was like the Barry Manilow of Mormon music.
Yeah, it's slow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I should pop that in.
Go back.
Afterglow. Okay. Keeping the Faith.
EFY.
No, it's that movie with Edward Norton, remember? Keeping the Faith? Jenna Elfman?
He's the one he's like a Catholic priest, right?
And Ben Stiller is the rabbi keeping the faith. You both said EFY. Okay, The Greatest Gift.
EFY.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
2000.
I would have guessed Christian movie, so I guess we're even now, right?
06.
Really?
06,
okay.
Yeah. Where the Heart Is.
Lifetime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go with Lifetime also.
Okay. No Higher Love.
EFY.
No, I'm going to say Christian movie.
Lifetime.
Do you have any Christian movies on there where we've gotten like what?
Go
on.
Steady and Sure.
Christian movie.
No.
EFY?
Yes, it's EFY. It's the 08 EFY.
Oh,
okay. In His Steps.
Christian movie.
Yes.
There's no way that's Lifetime.
Okay. A Mother's Testimony.
Ooh.
It's got to be
Christian movie.
Christian movie.
That's Lifetime.
Wait, can it be? Could it possibly be both though?
Not on the site that I found.
On Lifetime, yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Not on ChristianMovies.com. So, okay, Shout for Joy.
EFY.
Nope.
Suck.
Pete?
Christian.
Yes, Christian movie. Short. Shout for Joy. End of the Harvest.
Christian movie.
Yes. Love Thy Neighbor.
Oh crap.
EFY?
EFY.
Christian movie.
It's Lifetime. You both missed it. It's Lifetime.
Lifetime?
Okay, Homecoming.
Lifetime.
EFY.
Lifetime. Sailin' Home.
Christian movie.
EFY.
What?
Because I'm sailing home. I wasn't there that year. It was 87. But all my brothers had the music, and I heard the music when they came home.
Man,
so.
EFY is that old?
Yeah,
like 82 was the first.
10.
Yeah.
You were 10 in 82?
No, in 87.
The time has come to say fair's fair, to pay our rent now, to pay our share.
The time has come.
The time has come.
Christian movie.
Nope.
Lifetime.
EFY. First year, 1982. The time has come.
Tell me they used that band song. Go on.
I think it was pre that band. It was 4 years before. Yeah.
Okay, go.
Courage to Stand Strong.
Oh, it feels like EFY.
But it's too long.
Well, that last one was kind of long.
Okay, go with EFY.
EFY. It's this year's theme, 2010.
Wow.
Oh, my.
Courage to Stand Strong. More of Me.
Lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something to Sing About.
Christian movie.
Christian.
Yes. I think you saw where I looked there.
No, I didn't.
Labor of Love.
EFY.
No.
Christian movie. We've seen it.
Yeah.
We used to show it.
It's actually a Lifetime.
It's a Mormon movie.
It is a Mormon movie, but it was never an EFY theme.
It wasn't?
Man, that's easy. We need to email them. Oh, P.S. While we're talking about these themes, I sat in the meeting where we discussed themes.
Oh, yeah?
Pretty much you're supposed to come to me with ideas and you brainstorm them, then you kind of vote. That was it.
Really?
Oh,
so,
my
you were in
goodness.
charge of... Wait, what was your
So
theme
no
again?
one's going home praying about this at
Well,
all?
we prayed about it in the meeting, but there was probably 10 or 15 of us in the meeting. And we could just throw out ideas and go through and just kind of cross them off.
That's cool. Yeah, because I would have gone to this list of Lifetime movies.
It's total... I wish I could. Man, at the time, I was like, it was something I just had to do. I totally wish I would have gone in with, like, pop songs from the 80s.
Set them up for failure.
They're
Well,
all
I was
like...
leaving. I was only there through August, then I quit. So, like, the next... I didn't do Look and Live. I didn't work out at all, except decide the theme. That would be great.
Nice.
Okay, there are only like 7 left.
Okay.
Walk With Me.
I feel like EFY.
Christian movie.
Yeah, Walk With Me was EFY. That was actually the first year I went, I believe. Walk With Me.
Okay, go on.
Walk With... Okay. Deep in My Heart.
Christian
Lifetime.
movie.
Christian. Yes. No Regrets.
Christian movie.
Lifetime.
Lifetime.
Played the odds there.
Yeah.
Something to Talk About.
Lifetime.
Yes, that was Lifetime.
Oh.
And yes, the Bonnie Raitt song,
Body rate.
Something to Talk About, was involved in that. Everybody got a tape of that instead of the EFY. See, I got tapes. I didn't get CDs. A Song for the Season. Did I ever see that one?
No, that's EFY.
That's EFY.
Lifetime.
Are you serious?
Yes.
There's got to be one that's like got season in it though.
I believe we already said A Season for Courage,
Oh.
which was the 99
yeah.
theme.
Okay. Yep.
A Home of Our Own.
Christian.
Christian movie.
Lifetime.
Dang it.
You guys have missed more than you've gotten. The Road to Redemption.
Christian movie.
Yes.
Oh man, I don't know.
A Long Way Home.
That's a Christian movie. I've seen it.
Lifetime.
It's a Mormon movie.
Now, you're thinking of On the Way Home, which I want to talk about possibly next week, because I want to spitfire some ideas for next week, by the way.
Go on.
Comfort and Joy.
Lifetime.
Safe Harbor.
Oh, that is EFY.
Yeah, from the 80s.
No, don't confuse it with Sailin' Home. Safe Harbor is a Lifetime original. Forever My Friend.
Christian movie?
Christian.
EFY. Forever My Friend, 1989. Forever, My Friend. Forever Love.
Christian.
That's a Lifetime movie, so they can use this off.
It's Lifetime.
Okay, go on.
Okay, and let's see. I think that's it. One more. Lovin' Life.
Christian movie.
Lifetime.
EFY, 1986. Lovin' Life. Maybe that was I don't really prefer the EFY term, Lovin' Life. That was probably a last minute decision. Yeah. So anyway, okay, so that was a good game. Thanks for indulging me in that.
Well done with that. I appreciate it.
All right, can we wrap this up?
Yes, we can. First of all, next week, lesson?
Next week's lesson is I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord, or beware lest thou forget. I'm thinking about skipping ahead because of the whole
Feel free.
Last week where we
You're
fiasco.
in charge, you can skip whatever you want.
Are you in charge? Wait. You can...
Hey, the teacher shows up, whatever lesson he's got prepared for when he gets.
That's true.
Like anybody's really going to be prepping for this.
Well, you're going to tell
Because otherwise
Jamie
we're going to be doing the
right?
story of Balaam, and it's just a little one-sided, and I just... that's really all that there is, so I'm considering moving ahead with getting into Deuteronomy. Anyway, something I wanted to do, we have a listener who I'm going to call her Babs because she hates it. Anyway, she's listened to our podcast. She's really enjoyed it, and she was wondering if maybe we could feature future lessons and maybe talk about them. I don't know if we're necessarily going to do that, but I wanted to throw an idea out to her because she's also a Sunday school teacher, and she was essentially looking for ideas to use in her class.
Commendable.
Well, let's just get a week ahead of her.
Well, she's already like 2 or 3 weeks ahead of us. Anyway, so in Joshua, one of the things, Barbara, that maybe you could use is in talking about in chapter 24. That's the as for me and my house, I will serve the Lord. I think you could have a discussion in there with your people about what it means to maybe serve the Lord and choosing the Lord over other things. And get into a discussion about, why do we choose to do other things? Like, why do we go and watch, Friday the 13th? What is it about us that makes us want to go and watch those things? And how is that contrary to choosing the Lord? Anyway, that's just an idea to maybe throw out there to you and anybody else who's listening. Maybe it might be something we talk about in our lesson.
Okay,
cool. I don't know. Speaking of, by the way, no one go see the new Nightmare on Elm Street because I really didn't think it was that great. Also, speaking of Barbara, in the future, tell us your lesson that you're doing, and we'll look at the lesson and we'll make a comment as if we were in your class. This would be the comment that I would make. Just off the top. It might be lousy. It could very easily be lousy, but you get lousy comments, maybe you could work with it. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, good be hearing from you soon. As far as next week goes for topic,
should we give the email address out there? Because I couldn't find it on the blog the other day.
I put it on the blog recently.
Okay, I couldn't find it.
It should be on the blog now, but go to the blog now. The blog, by the way, is ironrodcast.blogspot.com. The email is just as easy, if not easier to remember, probably easier to remember. It's just ironrodcast@gmail.com. No the, anywhere in there. So just Iron Rodcast. If you just search Iron Rodcast, we're pretty much the only Iron Rodcast. So you can find our information pretty easily. As far as next week goes, it's my turn to pick the topic again. I'm thinking of picking let's talk about our favorite and least favorite Mormon movies, both made by the church and made by people like not officially part of the church.
So we'll have one of each?
Maybe 3 of each. How about this? Your favorite movie made by the church, your least favorite movie made by the church, your favorite movie, made by church members, your least favorite movie made by church members, and of course, your favorite anti-Mormon movie and your least favorite anti-Mormon.
So whatever we want. Okay.
well,
that's
does
six,
it have
that's
to be
6 movies.
Specifically anti-Mormon or not made by?
Not made by the church. So, like September Dawn would be a good example. The movie about the Mountain Meadows Massacre. Yes, with John Voight, which I hear is hilarious.
Anything with John Voight's got to be hilarious.
So be thinking about that, you guys. Okay, good. And if you're hearing this, if you've stayed with us this entire time, you just heard the email address. Go send in your movies and what you think.
And I have a good story for those of you who listen this long. So today in Sacrament meeting, we had testimony meeting. And it was quiet.
I was hoping you were going to forget.
It was totally quiet. And Angela was sitting 2 people down from me. She sneezed. Her sister says, "Bless you." Peter says, "Shh." He shushed the sneeze. And I bet like 3 rows started to laugh. It was so hard.
Everybody I heard, there were a bunch of people that were giggling.
The best part of it is testimony meeting. It was in like a 2-minute lull.
Yeah, it was dead quiet. We were, shh.
No one's supposed to be saying anything right now.
I felt bad because Angela got bright red.
Oh, it was hilarious.
And Angela, if you know anything about her, you know she's white.
Yeah.
And so...
that was funny.
I know.
Alexis was laughing hysterically. She was...
Oh, I was biting my hand.
You saw that I was laughing, right? I was like a few rows ahead of you.
I kind of put my head down, too.
Yeah. Dre was biting her arm so she wouldn't laugh. But that's all.
Anyway, okay. Till next week. Bye, I guess.